Welcome to the program, listeners. Tyler Friel with you on WISR 680 AM 107.5 FM. This is Let's Talk, the half hour where we sit down and chat with various organizations, businesses, guests, nonprofits, and more in our area. And today we welcome to the show a total healing solution. Dr. Heather is here. Dr. Heather, always good to see you. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
And we're also here joined by Dr. Lindsay once again. Dr. Lindsay, good to have you here as well.
Thank you for having me.
And we've got rounding out the trio is Dr. Annette, who is here. Dr. Annette, always good to have you here.
Thank you so much. This is always fun to be.
And so whenever we're going to get into a whole different things about all of what Dr. Heather, Dr. Lindsay, and Dr. Annette are up to. But as always, we like to remind you, hey, we're going to be here for the next half hour. If you can't stick around for the next 30 minutes, we do have you covered. You can go online to WISR680.com. Just look under our programs page. There you'll be able to find Let's Talk. You're also able to find us on Spotify as well. You can find us at WISR680.com. You can download our mobile app, and you can listen to us on your smart speaker. Wherever you listen to audio, you can find us here on the Let's Talk show on WISR. But Dr. Heather, we always like to start these shows out with just kind of a general description of what you're all about and what a total healing solution is all about.
A total healing solution. I'm a dry needling physical therapist, which means I specialize in dry needling. I do a couple other modalities while you are under the needles. And I'm also an herbalist. I try to grow as many of my herbs as possible. I cater all of my formulas to my patients. I really focus on pain, sleep, and like hormonal dysfunction, and a little bit of like anxiety with my herbs. And I'm here to help you allow the body to heal within.
And Dr. Annette, I'll go to you next to just kind of get into a little bit of what you and your practice is all about.
So my husband and I are both chiropractors. We have a chiropractic office in the village of Swickley, and there we have one red light bed, which was doing phenomenal. So we opened up a second red light clinic, which is just off the I-79 Wexford exit, where we specialize in red light therapy, which helps your body to increase its ATP production, which is your energy, and that energy then goes around your body and helps it to heal itself more. It's kind of like, I use the analogy, when we look kids, we always say we want to bottle up the energy of a child. Mm-hmm. And as we age, our energy production slows down, we get wrinkles, we get gray hair, we don't heal as fast. Well, the red light bed gives you bursts of energy. It helps your mitochondria to produce more of that energy, and that energy then goes around your body and heals you, and it helps you to feel better, be healthier, and live longer, anti-age you.
Oh, that's I want to learn more about that because people hear more energy, and I'm sure people get very excited at the possibility of that. And then Dr. Lindsay, if you want to get into what you're all about.
Yes, thank you. I'm an integrative rheumatologist and osteopathic physician. I'm certified in functional medicine, board certified in internal medicine and rheumatology. I treat traditional rheumatologic diseases such as lupus and rheumatoid arthritis, but more importantly, I partner with patients to look at the root causes as to what caused their immune system to dysregulate or go haywire. And when you take a root cause approach, you help problems in all organ systems.
You talk about autoimmune disease, if we want to start there a little bit, because we hear a terminology like that, an immune system in my mind, I think, okay, that's how I'm fighting off a cold. So autoimmune issues, what are we talking about here? If you want to get into that a little bit more.
Sure. So your immune system is a very complex set of cells and lymphoid tissue that, yes, when you're exposed to a pathogen such as a virus or a bacteria, your body fights that off and clears it. Unfortunately, sometimes other things, such as environmental pollution, stress, toxins, they can trigger that same immune response when it's not supposed to. So then you get symptoms of inflammation when they're not supposed to be there. So for example, if you're fighting off a flu or a virus, you feel feverish, achy, and sore, and that's because your body's releasing these things called cytokines, which are killing off the pathogen there. If your immune system is inappropriately triggered, as is what happens in autoimmune disease, that same immune response happens when it's not supposed to. So you end up feeling stiff, sore, and achy, difficulty focusing. It puts constant stress on the body.
And you mentioned like rheumatoid arthritis. So let me start there as just kind of a case example. So let's say somebody were to come to you with rheumatoid arthritis. How do you start the first line of questioning? How do you get to know this patient, and walk me through kind of maybe what an appointment looks like there?
Sure. So the approach I take is I work backwards. Start first with putting the fire out. How are their symptoms? If they're immobile and they're missing work 3 days a week because their joints are swelling, you have to calm the inflammation first. And a lot of times that does involve traditional medications. So you find out what's their disease burden, how active are their symptoms, and get the fire out first. But as you're doing that, you also ask, are there problems in other organ systems? Are you having GI issues, skin issues? And then you do, in functional medicine, we do what's called a timeline. You look at that individual's specific stressors, that toxic burden, what's going on in their life. And that helps me partner with them to get down to the root system. I mentioned before in a previous broadcast, your immune system is like a tree. There's the roots, and then there are the branches. Your digestive system is a branch. Your musculoskeletal system is a branch. If you have healthy roots, you have healthy branches. If you have problems in the roots, you have sickness or symptoms in the branches. So first step I do with a patient with rheumatoid arthritis is get the fire out, get symptoms under control. Sometimes that involves traditional medicine such as prednisone, which we don't want to do for the long term, and what we call disease-modifying drugs. Sometimes if the disease burden is high, we may even have to go to what's called biologic or other immune modulating drugs. But as we're treating that, we want to go down to the roots and figure out why is the immune system being triggered. And as you do that, that helps not only the rheumatoid, but other health problems.
And Dr. Heather, I know in previous conversations we've had with you, one thing that you've stressed, especially with your practice, is the individual. That, you know, the problem that a patient X had is not the same as patient Y, that each person is a little bit different.
Yes, you're right. I'm not AI. I try to treat the patient who they are, where they are in their disease process when they come to see me, and exactly what their goals are. So you come to see me, your goals are my goals. You can't get out of bed, that's your goal. You want to sleep in a bed, that's your goal. You want to be able to go through your entire day, be pain-free, treat this, that's your goal. So I'm on the same page you are.
And I'll throw out a case example here because you said you work a lot with folks who are suffering with pain, whatever
Yes.
that pain may be. Maybe it's a shoulder pain, maybe it's a back issue or something like that. So let's say somebody came to you with, you know, my back is killing me. I can't get up and do the things that I used to do. I'm struggling sleeping. So walk me through what a typical appointment may look like there.
So that sounds to me like pain brain. When you've had pain for over 30 days, it actually changes the pathways in your brain, and what things used to not cause you pain now cause you pain. So it's more than just I have shoulder pain. All of a sudden now I have shoulder, back, and neck pain, and then it just goes to each joint. So when you come to see me, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to address your nervous system because I have got to change the way your brain is interpreting pain. So I'm going to address the vagus nervous system. I'm going to put a couple needles in your ear, and then you're going to tell me what's going on. I'm going to treat the biggest joints that are bothering you, and I'm going to start low and slow because needles are very powerful.
Well, I wanted to stop in because I heard needles in the ear. Now, there are some people may hear that, Dr. Heather, and go, all right, I'm out.
What are you talking about? They're tiny. They're less than 2 millimeters. They're so short. So I've been a dental hygienist for over 20 some years. I've worked in dentistry since 1994. I know sharp, pointy things. If I can't make it painless, I'm guarantee you someone who's got a lot less experience around sharp, pointy things is going to make it worse.
I'm sure too, because people do hear needles, and there are people inherently who are a little bit scared. But you're saying don't be scared.
No, I have people who don't even feel them. Now, some people who do feel them, you'll feel a muscle jump. That's exactly what I want. That means I hit a trigger point. So a trigger point is where your neurotransmitters got stuck, and there's no other way. Like you can go to a massage therapist, and I guarantee you that person can spend 1 hour on that trigger point. You'll feel achy and sore, but you're like, yeah, it feels better. I can just throw a needle in there. I can remove that, that neurotransmitter. So that allows your body to break that down, bring blood, oxygen in, and that is healing. And so I go through, and then you come back and you tell me, you're like, hey, I slept better. Things are better. Like I'm a little achy here and here, but the pain stopped. So then I reevaluate, and every appointment I'm going to reevaluate your situation. Every appointment I'm going to reevaluate where you need needles, and every appointment, I'm going to adjust the therapy to you. I don't even care if you come and say, hey, my back hurts, but now my hip hurts. Well, I know why it traveled that way. So now I know more about your nerve pain, and I will change the situation.
Dr. Annette, getting back to the conversation about energy and things like that, I wanted to go back to your story, to how you got connected to red light therapy, because what you laid out in a previous show that we did was a story that kind of had you at your wit's end, that you've really tried a lot of different things. So if you want to get into your personal health journey and how you actually got to where you are today.
Absolutely. So prior to 2020, I was a relatively healthy individual. We have 4 children, and they would come home with their little sniffles, and I would get it and be over in 5 minutes. Like my body bounced back. I was great at multitasking. My husband has opened 28 chiropractic offices over the years. So we are a very busy household. My kids are very athletic, so I could handle a lot. 2020, though, my body changed because I had COVID before we knew it was COVID. So sick. Like my husband thought I would need to be hospitalized and was going to die. And I was just too stubborn to go there. Then that summer, I got bit by a tick, and then developed, Lyme disease. And then in that Thanksgiving, got COVID again. Didn't know I had COVID, but my taste and smell went away, and they did not return for a couple of years. And then I just was sleeping all the time, terrible cognitive function, just couldn't remember my kids' birthdays, the basics, my phone number, how to get home from the grocery store, like the basic things that you and I should know automatically. And I was reading books from medical doctors. How do I heal myself? What did they do? And I was following all their, their herbs and their supplements and what they were recommending, the basics. And red light kept showing up on the literature. And for 2 years, I refused to do it because I thought it sounded stupid. Like I want science-based things. Do not give me the hokey. I want the stuff that genuinely is going to work, right? So I got desperate enough that I went to a place in Cranberry, tried the red light bed for 20 plus times, felt a little better. Then I found a better bed in Wexford, used it for 3 times, and I went home to my husband and said, I think there's something to this red light. I am noticing a difference. So I went on a mission to find the best red light bed on the market. I found that bed. It's made in St. Louis, Missouri. It's the best medical grade bed we've got. We are still the only clinics in Pennsylvania that carry them. And I just have been noticing over this time, like the people who have symptoms like me who are healing. I kind of want to make a comment about like the needles with Dr. Heather. So when Dr. Heather first told me, I met her about the dry needling, I was a little skeptical. I'm not going to lie there. And then she did it on me the first time. And it was like right at Christmas, right at New Year's. And I went home and I was feeling weepy and I was feeling worse. And I'm not weepy normally. And I was feeling more pain. And I just was like, oh my God, what's happening? And here she had actually started something with my body, had triggered that. So now when I go to her, and this might be too much information, I apologize to people who don't like that, but she will put needles in my stomach. She'll put 30 needles in my stomach. I promise you it does not hurt. They're tiny. She puts like a bunch in my ears, on my face, all over. I love it. Puts these 30 needles in my stomach, and I will go to the bathroom right before I get on her table. As soon as she's done, like 15 minutes later, so half an hour, like she's taking out the needles and red lighted them, I have to race to the bathroom again because she has drawn that much inflammation off my body. So to me, that's proof. Like I can't make up when I have to go to the bathroom, right? That it worked. And so don't you worry. We're going to get you hooked up with some needles. You are going to love it.
Are we going to start his healing journey?
We're going to start his healing journey. And so I think that's how we all connect, the three of us, because we've all had health issues and it's hard. And it really has made us more compassionate for our patients. Because when people come to me and they tell me, I can't sleep, my sleeps are terrible, or I am so confused, my brain fog is so terrible, I get it. Or I haven't smelt for a long time. I didn't smell for like almost 2 years. Since the red light though, I smell like I did when I was pregnant. So now everything is so heightened. So sometimes that's not a good thing. But I went from one extreme to the other, and I am just on this mission to share that with other people, that you don't have to stay at home suffering. Life is hard enough. And when you can't get out of bed because you're exhausted, or you can't, like me, I couldn't leave my home. I was using a cane. I physically could not walk well enough to get around to my bathroom. It was hard. I want to find those people who are struggling and say, hey, let's try this. Let's see if it doesn't help you.
And, this is something that you all had mentioned to me even before we got on air, was just talking about your own individual health journey. So, Dr. Lindsay, I'll go to you because, again, I think when folks come to somebody who can help them, they're looking for somebody that can empathize with them, that have been in that situation before. And that seems to be a critical part about anybody in their own care journey.
Yes. So for my personal health journey, we have 2 wonderful boys. They're teenagers now, but 10 years ago when they were toddlers, I first learned about adrenal fatigue and suboptimal adrenal function when literally in the middle of the afternoon, I'd have to put my head down on the desk and just cry. I was beyond exhausted. And I said, I know I'm a physician, Mom. There's going to be a level of exhaustion, but I said, this isn't normal. And of course, I did the whole workup on myself. I did all the autoimmune panels, everything I do for a patient, everything stone cold normal. My kidney function was great, blood count was great. I even checked AM morning cortisol, which was normal. Then by serendipity, through my pastor's wife, I found a pharmacist who is functionally trained, introduced me to bioidentical hormones and non-conventional testing such as salivary and urine. Found out my adrenal glands were basically not producing any cortisol. So started my journey into functional and integrative medicine with bioidentical hormones. As I started that journey, I said, well, okay, my hormones are out of balance, but what triggered this? Again, the body just doesn't wake up one day and say, I'm going to turn on myself, why the hormones go down. Unbeknownst at that time, co-infections with Lyme and Bartonella, and we had mold in our home, which we were not aware of. Since remediated detox, doing a lot better. And applying that unfortunate personal journey, all bad things lead to some good. I found a lot of my patients with refractory things such as refractory rheumatoid, refractory psoriatic, those patients that aren't getting better, that are cycling through 3 or 4 traditional meds, when you start diving into the history, a lot of them have had hidden mold. A lot of them have had chronic Lyme that they can't clear. So when you have them do things such as dry needling to calm the sympathetic nervous system and red light therapy to help with detox and healing, those things help them do better overall.
You mentioned, and I've heard this before from multiple people about Lyme's. I mean, that seems to be one that potentially went undiagnosed at some point and has impacted people. But generally speaking, if you want to dive into that just a little bit more, you talk about chronic Lyme. Sure. Why does that bring us down just completely health-wise?
Sure. So again, it comes back to the immune system doing what it's supposed to do or when it's not supposed to do it. So if you are infected with Lyme, such as the Borrelia bacteria, your body incites an immune response, releases these things called cytokines to kill off that bacteria. And in a healthy functioning body, it's supposed to kill that off. However, if we are stressed, if we're run down by other things, such as long haul COVID, or environmental exposures, or just stress in general, your body's ability to clear that is compromised. So the organism, traditional antibiotics, most physicians only give 14 days. We need longer, and you need other modalities to clear it. So the problem is if that bacteria isn't completely cleared, it kind of hides and evades detection. And then what does your body say? Hey, there's something here that shouldn't be here. And it triggers cytokine and an immune response. So what are the symptoms of Lyme disease? Joint pain, swelling, fatigue. What are the symptoms of certain inflammatory arthritides, such as rheumatoid, psoriatic arthritis, joint pain, and fatigue?
So then it's also, like you just mentioned, the 3 symptoms. So as a client, or as a patient, where do you go? Do you go to orthopedic surgeon because your joints hurt? Do you go to somebody else like a psychologist because you have fatigue and brain fog? Because we piecemeal our bodies in Western medicine, you might have picked the wrong provider. Or then you go to a general practitioner and they're like, well, I don't know, you could go here, you could go here, you could go here. But we're not looking at the root cause. And what people don't tell you is the Lyme test is actually catered against women. Women typically only show 4 biomarkers and it's catered at 5, but men will show 6. So our tests for finding it aren't good. So you'll find it after the fact, after you've had an organ removed and you have scar tissue, and the scar tissue is so bad, you're like, wow, this is a result of Lyme. And so you might have had it for 20 some years. You don't know where to and what to do. And so you do have it. How do you live with it? And that's the other path we need to take.
So you talk about, folks that come to you. One recurring theme that I continue to hear between all 3 of you are kind of those low energy. I'm exhausted, I'm tired, this aches, this is sore, which again, I think some people may be associating with aging and getting older and different things like that. But what your pitch here today is that, yes, while that may be the case, it's also just because there's been a bunch of added stressors and your body's been through a lot, and that doesn't necessarily have to be the case.
Well, yeah. Did you ever sit there and look back to all the pictures for over 100 years ago? How many of those people were using walkers? How many of those people were using cane? How many people were still working on their farms, doing their gardens, and they were 80, 90, 100 years old? What happened that all of a sudden, fast forward 125 years, our life expectancy is less, our inflammatory burden is a lot more, and we are in more of a detriment. I see more people on canes, more people on walkers, more people in wheelchairs. That should they really be there? What if we intervene sooner? What are we doing in our lives that we need to seriously stop and take a look and say, why are we so debilitated?
Well, one of the things, too, I want to talk just a little bit about is almost on the preventive side in terms of what we can do. And Dr. Annette, I'll go to you on this because, again, some people may hear, now you were at a stage where I think a lot of folks would be like, wow, that sounds really, really difficult. But generally speaking about red light therapy, let's just say I'm working a lot. I'm doing a lot of things. Is this just something that I could add into my health fold to be like, hey, this is just something that's going to benefit me overall just by adding this into the mix?
110%. So we find a number of our clients are those clients who are concerned with their anti-aging, with longevity, people who are healthy, very fit, exercise, and they are looking for ways to improve their bodily function. And so they use the red light therapy to give them what they're lacking from getting the sun and to help them, live a more productive, healthier, longer life. So I actually love those clients who are more forward thinking and saying, okay, I'm not going to wait till it gets super bad. I want to be living my best life.
Try to get out in front of it.
100%.
Yeah. And then on the diet side of things, in terms of what we are putting into our body and things like that. And again, it does get back to, in society, we're a fast-paced society where I'm moving from work to extracurricular activities, from, whatever it may be, and the time and stuff that we're allotting for food and things, it's become, again, another area. But in terms of our diet, Dr. Heather, what should we be doing? I mean, how, and what are some of the things that we need to know about it?
Well, I think we need to eat as pure, as clean, and as close to the source as we can. I say support your local farmers. And if it has a label, do we really want it in our body? Like, sit there. If you cannot read an ingredient, it probably shouldn't belong in our body. And the other thing is, I would like to say that I have been working with all my colleagues here, and I created an herbal formula called an adrenal hug, which supports the body on this adrenal journey. And it's something you can take and regulate yourself and use as little as much as you want to feel your best. And you can find it in any of their offices. But diet is the cleaner, the better. Grow your own garden. Help your body out. Help out the local butcher. I mean, I'm sure his cows are grass-fed. He doesn't have the operation to have all the chemicals.
For the herbal side of things to do, and I know this is another part of your business as well, in addition to the dry needling therapy, if you just want to dive into a little bit of what that side of a total healing solution is about.
Oh, it's fantastic. I've actually worked with a lot of rheumatoid clients, and they come in and they're like, all of a sudden I'm diagnosed with eczema, I'm diagnosed with this, I'm diagnosed with that. Well, I come in and I can put needles around the area that's inflamed, and then I offer, I have creams that I specifically make because my skin is incredibly sensitive, and my beeswax is as natural as you can get. My oils are as organic as you can get, and I try to grow everything. Nothing's been put on my land for over 20 years, and I formulate it based on the majority of my clients' concerns. So I actually make a lot of pain balms. I use St. John's wort, which is a fantastic for nerve pain. I incorporate it with arnica, which is fantastic for muscle pain, and then comfrey, which is new and coming. People are more coming around to it, even though it's a very old herb, and it's fantastic with inflammation. So I combine that together, and it's something you can use that's as natural as you can get, and you can apply it as many times as you need to. And I'm seeing fantastic results with these herbs. And I have herbs for pain, which are non-addictive, non-habit forming. And Dr. Annette and I actually worked together with a client, a little boy, who decided to scratch all of his mosquito bites and then go into the ocean and get them massively infected and, not use soap and water. And then... So we worked on that, and it was fantastic. We had massive rash where we almost had to go to the ER because I'm like, this is going to become septic if we don't treat this, and we got rid of it in 12 days.
Dr. Lindsay, one of the things, too, that you talked about, especially with a lot of your patients, is that, and all three of you have kind of mentioned this, too, is that there's kind of a complementary aspect of what you're trying to do, that this is not just a one-size-fits-all approach.
Absolutely. So I let my patients' symptoms and their timeline and history guide them where to go. A lot of patients, if they come to me right out the gate, they're not ready for detox or healing. You have to calm the inflammation. But as you continue to calm symptom burden, then absolutely it's appropriate to do dry needling and red light therapy, among other modalities, to improve healing. I do a little bit of osteopathic manipulation too, which helps with things such as trigger points. But definitely we complement each other. The dry needling, the red light, they help patients with detoxification, with healing, with calming that inflammatory burden.
One thing that seems to be, in addition to the empathy that you all have for your patients, is a passion for this. So for you, I'll start with you, Dr. Heather, just about what led you down this road and why this is really a passion of yours.
Well, I'm a dry needling physical therapist because my husband got COVID and he lost 50% of his hearing and he had tinnitus. So he went the traditional route. He went to the ENT. He got Ativan and steroids. Yeah. And so obviously that didn't work. And he comes to me after I'd done a course with working with Cleveland Clinic, and I did a special one for head and neck. And he's like, I'm not getting better. He's like, I heard about this other dry needling person on the YouTube and whatever. He's like, you're going, I signed you up, you're driving to Jersey. I drive to Jersey. This guy's like, you have to treat the nervous system. The nervous system guides the body. It guides the muscles, the joints, everything else. And he's like, absolutely. I've treated tinnitus. I've treated hearing loss. Fast forward, my husband has test results. He got all of his hearing back. His tinnitus is gone. It only comes back with rains, which I consider a success story. But sometimes you just have to stop. Sometimes you don't want to put things in your body. It's what you can take out of your life. And I want to say I do make herbal remedies. I customize them for everybody, and we customize all the treatments. We are looking for other professionals to collaborate with. I don't care who you see. I compliment, I do not compete. I don't care if you're seeing an acupuncturist. I don't currently care if you're seeing physical therapists. I work well with them.
Dr. Annette, for you, I mean, obviously your story and where you were to where you are today, I'm sure for you being a helpful hand for a lot of folks is really important.
I think I am just so grateful that I found something to get me out of that hole, because I don't know how much longer I would have been living a productive life if I would have continued on that path. And I am just on this mission now to share this with anybody that I can. And my kids laugh. They make fun of me like, Mom, all you do is talk about red light. So my favorite topic in the world is my kids. I will brag about them until the cows come home. And then my second favorite is red light, because it has literally changed my life. And when I see someone who has an issue, I just want to go up sometimes in the store and say, hey, look, why don't you try red light to help you with this? But I don't know how appropriate that is to do. But know that I want to do that.
Boundaries.
If I see, yeah, exactly. No boundaries. I just want you to get well. I promise. I'm not creepy. Yeah. So I think that, like the three of us, we don't have an ego between us, and it's all about what can we do to help the person and meet them where they are, because everybody is a different spot. Nobody is a carbon copy of the other. So if you need to look at how are you today, and let's focus on today and move forward. And sometimes you take a couple steps back.
Yeah.
And and I think just like having the compassion for these people, because we've been there.
And Dr. Lindsay, for you?
Absolutely. No, I'm very passionate about root cause medicine, because I've seen the health improvement in both our children and myself. And my husband, it's kind of funny. He was a little bit of a doubter at first. He's now one of my biggest supporters, because he's seen the improvements with our children. And I've seen it with my patients. I've seen patients improve and get better. So when you see it happen, you have to promote it.
Absolutely. So as we approach here the end of the show, just want to give people a chance to get in touch with you all. So Dr. Heather, I will start with you. If people want to reach out, learn more information, what do they need to do?
Absolutely. Give me a call, 412-282-3826. And I also have a website, www.totalhealingsolution.com.
And then Dr. Annette, for you?
Anyone who would like to try the red light bed complimentary just needs to call my office and say, I heard it on the radio, and my staff will get you hooked up. Our number is 412-770-4213.
Very, very cool. And Dr. Lindsay, for you?
Yes, if anybody who would want an initial consult, say you've heard it on the radio, and I'll give a discount. My office number is 412-301-5015. On the website, www.rheumtolook, RHEUM, the number 2, and the word look.com. On my website, I also have a couple of courses on things such as boundary setting and nutrition that help promote overall health.
Very, very great stuff. Well, ladies, thank you so much for stopping in. Great to catch up and learn as much as we did today. We've gone down a lot of different routes. But Dr. Heather, Dr. Annette, Dr. Lindsay, ladies, thanks so much for taking the time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. It's been awesome. Thanks.
Hey, if you missed any of our program, as always, you can find it online. WISR680.com is the place to take care of that. We're also available on Spotify as well, just by searching for Let's Talk WISR. We encourage you to like and subscribe there. I'm Tyler Friel saying so long for now. You're listening to WISR.